Well, here we are on a Tuesday. Yay. Let's get this week over with, huh? Sound good? Sounds good to me. Do I got plans this weekend? I don't know. Is there anything happening? Hopefully a little bit of relaxation. That'd be nice. All right, let's see here. People were asked online, what's something you're pretty sure only you do? All right, well, let's see what they got and see if that's something that it's like, yeah, come on, everybody does that. You're not the only one. You're not special. This person puts their microwave at 99 minutes and 59 seconds and just takes stuff out when they feel like it's done. Right now it's at 67:45. What are you cooking for over 20 minutes? Seems excessive. Or is that over 30 minutes? Yeah. I can math, everybody. I can math good. All right. I mean, I guess I might do that in a way, but I wouldn't put 99.59. All right, let's see what this person says here. When I'm home alone and encounter something I don't want to do, like put away laundry, unload the dishwasher, take out the trash, I say out loud in a dramatic voice, "Oh, hell no!" And then I do the task. I think that protest makes me feel better about being the person who notices that something needs to be done. All right. Maybe I'll have to give that a try when it comes to getting off work and all I want to do is like take a nap on the couch. Oh, hell no! Let's see. What else do we got here? This person gets really sad and has to fight not to cry when they see dinosaur bones in museums. There's something that fills this person with grief. The fact that these giant animals are just gone forever. Can you imagine? You go to the museum with a friend, they just start bawling. All right, that next one was kind of gross. I won't read that. Now we're getting into people doing weird stuff. Of course, it's the internet. All right, this person says, when I'm alone and I have an intrusive thought that I really don't want to think about, I'll loudly start singing or humming to try to get my brain focused on something else. All right, that could be a good life pro tip. I know I get intrusive thoughts, and my brain can be a just disaster sometimes. Thankfully, it seems in a decent place this morning. We'll see what happens once I pour some caffeine into my head. Sometimes that brings on the intrusive thoughts and sketchiness. We'll see. This person says when they're making dinner for themselves, they'll grab a random topping or condiment and put a dab on to see if the flavors work together. And they said they started with peanut butter, found out it goes really good with most meats. Tried marshmallow fluff, which goes well with loads of savory things in a small amount. A1 on ice cream was interesting, but I wouldn't say good. All right. Hey, there's worse hobbies to have. All right. Well, I mentioned I need some caffeine. I'm going to drink some. And then I'll be back and we'll yap about more stuff. All right? Morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time it might be when you're listening to this. But thank you for tuning in. We'll be right back. Sometimes when I'm pulling up content online, I'm like, did we already talk about this? I'm pretty sure we did. And then I look at the date on it and I'm like, well, it's fresh. Maybe I'm just imagining things. But I'm pretty sure we did talk about this recently. Somebody must have just asked about it online. Normal movie tropes that are actually a complete lie in real life. Like, they mentioned the classic family breakfast scene. You know, it's a random Tuesday, and you've got a massive spread of like eggs and bacon and pancakes, and there's fresh fruit, and then someone grabs a piece of toast and like, I'm late, I gotta go. Yeah, you know, if you whipped up a full breakfast spread like that, you'd be like, sit down and eat. You ain't leaving with just a piece of toast. Look at how much work I put in. No, you get. All right, let's see here. Hanging up the phone without saying goodbye. That does happen. But I actually only know one person who does that, and that is Peaches. All right, if you ever talk to Peaches on the phone, I don't know if he does it when he's dealing with callers who call in, but if you're just talking to him outside of radio, he just hangs up. You know, just very abrupt in ending the phone call. It's very odd. So yeah, that one does happen in real life, at least if you talk to Peaches. All right, let's see here. This person says they have two that come to mind. The one where the science character who has a doctorate in, let's say, paleontology, also knows embryology, biology, chemistry, physics, mathematics, virology, computers, robotics, and can hack into any system on Earth. Yeah, scientists in movies are pretty smart, huh? And let's see here. Meeting for a coffee or drink, finishing the conversation in 5 seconds, and leaving without even drinking a sip of the drink. Does that happen often in movies? I guess so. The one that, comes to my mind, weird things you see in movies that, well, I thought don't happen in real life. But if you ever see a scene where someone goes number 2, they never wipe. And it's kind of disturbing once you notice it and then you watch. You're like, the only time it didn't seem odd was in the movie The Long Walk, which we watched the other day. But then on Reddit, we've recently been seeing a lot of women mention that their smelly, disgusting men either don't wipe or don't properly shower. So they just stink. It's disgusting. All right? You can wash every part of your body. All right, everybody? Let's see here. Okay, some more people talking about breakfast, blah, blah, blah. Oh, moving the steering wheel back and forth while driving. Yeah, you'd cause a major accident, okay? Stop that. You'd be freaking out if you saw somebody driving like that. I was just kind of laughing to myself about something I heard yesterday. It's amazing how long some people can just sit around and be angry, and how angry people can get. I'm not even going to get into it because they're afraid to say other people's names, so no need to say theirs. But yeah, local podcaster. I made him mad like months ago. I don't even know how many months ago. And, I didn't intend to make anybody mad. I felt I was owed an apology for something that happened from this person many years ago. And I said, apologize. And then they threw a big tantrum and we got in a little fight. And they've just been mad ever since. And so they relentlessly, complain and get angry in regard to, me, or pretty much at this point, it sounds like anybody. And it just gives me a good laugh. Every once in a while, I'll fire it up just to see, all right, still mad? Yep. But, the one I heard yesterday, I got accused of using a fake Facebook profile, which a lot of people do so they can, spy on other people and things like that. I don't need to do that, all right? I mean, if I really wanted to look at someone's profile who had blocked me, I could just switch to one of my, banned accounts or something like that. I don't have the time to be, maintaining multiple Facebook profiles, personal profiles, and maintaining a fake personality. Just not going to put that kind of effort in. So, the fact that this person's is this Victor under a fake account? This made me laugh. But, oh man, the tantrum they threw about some other guys I know, that one had me laughing. That one did have me laughing. It was pretty good. But, if you've got some anger built up inside, you got to figure out a way to get that out in a healthy manner. Go talk to a therapist or something like that, a counselor, or maybe take a look at yourself. Take a look at yourself and go, why am I so angry? What's going on here? This is no way to live my life. just being angry all the time. It makes for an awkward show when just you can rely on a tantrum every single time. And I'm a person who throws a tantrum sometimes, all right? All right, I'll admit it. You've heard me do it. But, yes, I do not have a fake Facebook profile, okay? And I would admit it if I did, because I just wouldn't tell you what it is. Be like, it's out there. It's out there, but no. No, there's much easier ways to, if you've just gotta go look at somebody's page. That's the thing, I don't care enough. I don't need a fake profile. Generally, if you've had a disagreement with somebody to the point that they block you or you block them, you don't want to go see their crap. You don't care. You cast them out. You're done. Bye-bye. You suck. So, yeah, I've had to block many people in my day. You think I care what they're up to? No. Not at all. Booze can be pretty bad for you. So, you got to have some other beverages that you're into. Like if you're trying to cut back on the booze, you got to have some good stuff to go for. Found this thread, what's your non-alcoholic drink of choice? And I knew the top answer was going to be those annoying hydro homies with their water. But I thought maybe in this thread I could find a new delicious beverage. There are a lot of things I enjoy. The occasional soda. I don't know, as I've gotten older. Sometimes they're just, oh, it's too sweet, too much sugar, meh. A nice kombucha is pretty good. That's not for everybody. But let's see what we got in here, aside from water. And I know there's going to be multiple people that respond water because people online don't know how to use certain social platforms. All right, here we got seltzer, which, okay, I mean, that's water, but it's sort of soda-ish, and I am a fan of that. I need to pick some of that up. That's good stuff if you're trying to stay booze-free. Dr. Pepper, that's one of the go-tos if I'm going to have the occasional soda. That's pretty good. All right, let's see here. More people with water. Water, water, water. Like, dudes, somebody already said water, okay? Virgin Jack and Coke. Okay, they say that's just a can of Coke. Don't they make, like, fake booze nowadays that's supposed to actually taste like liquor? Seems like I saw that online somewhere. It sounds expensive and like it probably sucks, just like NA beer. Oh, NA beer is so terrible. But if you like, just regular old light beer, you'd probably dig NA beer. Yeah, because it's just bland, not a lot of flavor. Kind of like, regular old light beer. Until they can figure out how to make a NA beer that actually has some bite to it. I don't know. Here's more people talking about water. Okay, coffee, water again, root beer. Dude, I just want to jump into this thread and be like, listen all, you just upvote the one post about water. You don't need to keep posting about it. Hydro homies, I tell you, they're bizarre. Baja Blast, all right. Yeah, that's pretty decent here. Water again, all right. I should have known this thread was going to make me mad. I wanted to find something new and delicious. We get it, okay? We get water exists. We know it's out there. Everybody knows about water. I don't know why that annoys me so bad. I was just reading this thread about if you were a burglar and you only steal items that slightly inconvenience your victims, what are you going to steal? And, it got me annoyed. I was just thinking of these items turning up missing. Like last night, I hid something from myself at some point. A dehumidifier. I don't know how you hide something that large, but apparently I had. Anyway, when things turn up missing that you're like, I know I have this, it can be real aggravating. So if somebody was a burglar and was taking things like the turning plate in the microwave, how frustrating would that be? The TV remote? Yeah, how many times you've been hunting for that? Imagine if it was just straight up gone. I did lose a PlayStation 5 controller at one point, and I think one of my daughter's friends stole it. I think that's what happened. She was in the process of moving. Magically, a PlayStation 5 controller disappears. And since she moved, I've had the opportunity to completely clean my house. Now, I need to do that again. But I've gone through everything. Somebody stole it. And it was definitely an inconvenience. Let's see here. What are other items a burglar could steal that would be really annoying? The labels off all of the canned goods. Oh. Well, kids, what are we having tonight? It's a surprise. All right, all their TP, tissues, and paper towels. Yeah, that would be not very cool. Let's see. Phone chargers, every single one. Hey, that could end up being good. Depending on the day, maybe you don't want to put up with your phone. I know there are times when mine irritates me, but gotta deal with it in the modern age. Let's see here. Oh, just one of each sock. Okay, yeah, that'd be kind of annoying. Tupperware lids. Emptying out the salt and pepper shakers and refilling them with glitter. All right, that's not real. That's like an exchange, not really a theft. Yeah. Let's see. 1/4 of an inch off one chair leg on every chair in the house, so they all slightly rock. All right. I think we got most of the good stuff out of the way. Shoelaces, you could get by. Okay. Okay, we'll start off in Utah with what shouldn't be freak news anymore, but the 28th book for all public schools has been banned. Ooh, not them words. Oh, yeah, I find this list kind of funny because you can go check this out online. They've got a list of every book that's been banned. And Stephen King's the most banned author in America, but apparently in Utah, they only banned one of his books in public schools, and that was Bag of Bones. And I've read that book, but it's been years and years. I don't remember it being that crazy. Like, I don't know. There's some pretty wild Stephen King books. So, anyway, the rest of them are like A Court of Thorns and Roses and blah, blah, blah. Could we just stop with the book banning already? All I can hope is that this is encouraging kids to read. When I was young and was told, don't look at that, don't watch that, don't listen to that music, what do you think I did? It's great we're entering into a time when being a rebellious teenager is going to the library. Man, times are weird. Here's a headline. Flying in America is about to get more expensive and less fun. Was flying ever fun? How could it get to be less fun? Let's find out here. I mean, getting more expensive, that's just the name of the game in the modern age. You could name pretty much anything and go, hey, it's going to get more expensive, because that's just what seems to be happening. But what? Oh, is it just because of long lines and things like that? Yeah, that does make it less fun. But again, there's no fun to begin with. Who has fun traveling by air? It's just what you got to do if you need to go somewhere really far away. Getting to be more expensive. Fantastic. Yay. Let's see here. We talked a little bit about the Oscars yesterday. Michael B. Jordan won Best Actor for his roles in the movie Sinners. I actually didn't know that that was just one guy playing twins. They did a really good job stitching those scenes together. I had no clue. But anyway, he went to In-N-Out Burger to celebrate his Oscar win. There's a bunch of photos and such of him holding up the Academy Award and getting himself, I don't know, double-double. Lou Brutus. Every time he's won one of these national rock radio awards at conventions I've been to, that's where he headed as well. Yeah, went with Lou one time to In-N-Out Burger to celebrate his big win. I was a big loser at that particular convention, but I was nominated for Best Morning Show, Best Rock Morning Show in America, and Best Programmer, Best Metal Station. Didn't win any of them. But hey, it's just an honor to be nominated, right? Mm-hmm. All right, I'm going to save that one for a few. This final thing I guess we could get into is if you have problems getting to sleep because of anxiety. This woman's saying you need to follow the 6:30 rule, where you just tell yourself over and over, no worrying after 6:30 p.m. And this is something her therapist had her do. You know, she's like, this seems stupid. But she was able to, after a bit, start pushing out the anxious thoughts until 8 p.m., and then she kept it up for a couple weeks, and she got it to 10:30, and she just kept going, even though she kept telling the therapist this is dumb. But eventually, after about a year and a half of therapy and telling herself to not worry after 6:30, she felt better. I myself think it could have been the year and a half of therapy that really helped, but maybe having something else to take your mind off of it. Well, anything to help out anxiety. Anxiety sucks. You know, it's terrible. If you're dealing with anxiety, another good reason to, go talk to a therapist. Help is out there. All right, we're going to be back in, a couple songs. Might talk about how Gen Z men are just terrible. A bunch of idiots. Sorry, Gen Z dudes. You'll find out why. They're just a segment of you that are dumb. And we'll get into that here in just a minute. What's going on with you, Gen Z? What's up with you, Gen Z dudes? Was just reading about some stats on Gen Z men and their thoughts on women. This is why you have what you see people call the male loneliness epidemic. Oh, I'm so lonely, I can't get a girlfriend. Stop watching the influencers you're watching and rethink things like, the thought that a wife should obey her husband, obey his every word. Apparently, 31% of Gen Z men say a wife should obey her husband. Okay. No. I don't think that attitude is going to go over very well with the ladies in 2026. Okay. A lot of bizarre stats came out of this survey. The majority of Gen Z men, 59%, believe that men are expected to do too much to support equality. 60%. Well, 59%. Oh, it's so hard. We have to, treat these ladies equal. Oh. Dudes, this is why you're lonely. Okay? Maybe rethink that a little bit, okay? Okay, 50% or 57% of Gen Z men believe women's equality has gone so far that men are now discriminated against. Oh, we're so picked on. Who are these whiners? I'm being discriminated against as a man. Oh my God. I tell you, if any of my dude friends started saying crap like that, just be like, slap, shut up, stop that whining. Well, the problem is that a lot of influential people are whiners. They whine and complain about everything. You look at a lot of male influencers online or people in positions of power. I'm so picked on. Everybody's always mean to me. These whiners. Oh my God. Dudes, okay? You got to see the ladies as equal. You're not going to get anywhere. The male loneliness epidemic is the fault of the men who are doing all this whining and have these strange views that have been bashed into their heads by stupid people. Okay? You got to change things up. I talked a little bit about going to therapy earlier, all right? You're a man that's frustrated because you can't get a lady and you're feeling lonely and you feel like you're discriminated against. Go to a counselor, okay? Go to a counselor. Stop watching the things you're watching online. Stop looking up to some of the people you're looking up to. Don't hit yourself in the face with a hammer. Yeah, etc. I don't want to be one of those guys. Oh, the new generation. But no. Stop the whining, okay? Stop the, oh, I'm so picked on. Get it together, okay? It's up to you to fix these things. This is all on you, Gen Z dudes. In news that is not surprising to anybody, according to whistleblowers, Meta and TikTok let harmful content rise after evidence outrage drove engagement. No kidding. You mean that's why my social media feed gets me riled up every day? Because I just can't quit arguing with people in the comments? Yeah, I think we've obviously all seen a change in the last 5 years to how social media works. Yeah, I get pummeled every day with the dumbest, most aggravating, stupid posts. You know, fake information, stuff clearly that the algorithm knows. If I'm going to react, I'm going to have a negative reaction to it. You know, I'm going to tell somebody like this content isn't real or something like that. Yeah, these companies only care about the bottom line, and you need engagement in order to, you know, drive usage of your platform, right? You got to have people using it. And if you can get them mad, chances are they're going to spend more time on it than if they're just having a good old time chatting with friends, because people do that through a text message or in person. No kidding. They didn't even need whistleblowers for this. It should be obvious based on what social media feeds look like right now that they're trying to rile people up. I mean, pretty much every news organization works this way. It's all outrage-driven content. I used to do a bit on the show called Cue the Outrage. This was when, you know, this was about 12 years ago or so. Started doing this. This is when, like, stupid, whiny internet outrage became a thing, but it was generally funny. You know, people fighting about proper ways to make, you know, a certain sandwich or a drink or something like that and losing their minds. That's not the traditional recipe. But now it's just everything. But, yeah, if you aren't aware, your social media feed's trying to make you mad. And every time you leave an argumentative comment, you're just helping them make big bucks. And probably, you know, negatively affecting your mental health while you're at it. So, might be something to think about. Taking a breather from it, you know? Because, trust me, I've tried. There's no way to get your social media feed to, like back in the day, only show you things that it thinks you're going to like. I've tried, you know, hiding stuff on Facebook, going, don't show me this. I find it false or misleading. It just keeps feeding me more of that crap. It's making us all dumber, and it's keeping us divided. So just be aware. These are companies trying to make money, and your anger, it's making them a lot of money. And it isn't helping you in any way. So settle down and, I don't know, maybe watch some South Park or something. Becca and I just finished the last season of South Park. For some reason, we hadn't watched the final episode of the season. Top quality. Good stuff. Jay Davis in the house. What's up, homie?
Just found something out back that I feel represents your usefulness perfectly.
You found something out back that represents my usefulness.
Yeah, you ready for it?
I don't know. What are you pulling up here? A bucket without a bottom. Why do we have that?
I don't know.
That bucket used to have a bottom in it.
But it's been a well-used bucket. It blew out the bottom.
It blew out the bottom. I don't know how I didn't see you bring that in here. You snuck it in really good.
You underestimate the sneakiness.
Oh, man. That bucket is kind of an analogy for the average radio DJ, isn't it?
Pretty much. Especially past radio DJs.
Oh, yeah. No, don't get me started on past radio DJs.
Past radio DJs don't even have the handle anymore.
No, they don't even have the handle for the bucket without a bottom. How much anger can you hold in that bucket?
A bunch. It just keeps flowing through.
It does.
You can put all the anger you want in this bucket.
Oh. Man, that's too funny, Jade. All right, I'm glad you're having a productive time.
Walking out to the engineering truck, I'm like, Victor Wilt.
Is there still a skull sitting out back? Remember how we that skull that had a hornet's nest in it?
No, I think it got removed.
Did we end up getting it thrown away?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. We were talking about skulls a while back, and I was like, hey, we had this skull that was in the studio. And then all of a sudden, in the middle of winter, hornets started showing up in the studio. Couldn't figure it out. Kept killing them, and they just kept coming. Oh, man. Surprised I didn't try to carry it out in that bucket. All right, well, I've got an idea for that bucket.
I do too.
Okay. All right, everybody. Make sure you're always listening to our shows. You never know what's going on. Now, even if you don't like a certain genre of music, try to be respectful at shows. Don't throw things at the performer. Now, it's been a while since we had one of these stories. What was her name? Just drawing a blank. BB Rexa. That was her name. I believe she took a phone to the face, and it was just a terrible video to watch. Well, apparently, country artist Riley Green just had to get 5 stitches after a fan chucked a phone at him mid-performance. Now, this was in Australia, so yet another reason to avoid that place. But yeah, looking at his ear there, those would be stitches attaching the earlobe back to the side of his head. Don't throw things at people on stage, okay? It's not cool. It's not nice. That's even if it's Riley Green, all right? I ain't got nothing against Riley Green, at least not that I'm aware of. I don't know. I'm sure if I did enough digging, he's a country guy, so a lot of these modern country artists, you could find, unlikable things about them. But still wouldn't chuck a phone at him. Even when I don't like people. Not going to chuck a phone at him. It's just not cute. Yo, how are my people doing on this Tuesday morning? I hope great. Thank you for tuning in and hanging out with me today. Listening to me instead of, I don't know, whatever other podcast or show you could be listening to. I actually just read about a podcast I'm going to check out. It's called the No Rogan Experience, KNOW. There's a podcast I've talked about before called Knowledge Fight. And what the hosts on Knowledge Fight do is they just kind of critique, make fun of, and debunk the Alex Jones show. I guess that No Rogan Experience is the same thing, but for the Joe Rogan show. And I've talked about Joe Rogan plenty over the years. I was like an OG Rogan listener, like way back in the day. 12 years ago? I don't know. Way back in the day, before he became one of the biggest podcasters in the world. And then once he moved to Texas, the show just changed. And I'm just not into it that much anymore. Every once in a great while, he'll have a guest that seems kind of interesting on, but for the most part, he's still babbling about COVID. And the thing that drives me crazy about him is he doesn't question his guests. They come in, spew a bunch of stuff, and he just kind of accepts it a lot of times. Or like one of his buddies will tell him something crazy they saw online, and it's just completely made up, but he doesn't take the time to look it up and verify whether or not it's real. So this might be a pretty fun show to check out. Them just going through Joe Rogan episodes and giving it a little bit of a smackdown. Haven't checked it out, so I don't know if it's good, but like Knowledge Fight's really good. That's a really good show, so definitely going to have to check out the No Rogan Experience. So that's what's on my list next time I do some boring chores or something like that. Check that one out. All right. I'm going to keep digging here, see what else we could find, but just thought some of you might be interested in that. Yeah, could be pretty good. Tuesdays are just the worst, aren't they? I mean, Mondays are pretty bad, but Tuesday, it's like, I swear I've been at work so many days already. How is it only Tuesday? Oh, well. Just read a strange news story out of Florida. You know, when it comes to the government, a lot of things just don't make any sense. But apparently a Florida bill to ban marrying first cousins fails to pass. Yeah. You know, we read a lot of weird stories out of Florida. People make some crazy decisions, do some weird things there. Maybe they should pass a law that first cousins shouldn't be able to get married. I don't need to elaborate on the problems that can cause and things like that. Plus, it's gross. All right? It's just gross. So, yeah. I guess we probably can't hope for daylight saving time to be made permanent anytime soon if they can't get that kind of bill to pass. Just blows my mind. The things that they just, okay, we can just do this. We're just going to do this today. But then something like this. What the heck? It's got to be illegal in Idaho, right? Come on, can we at least have that one up on Florida? Can't believe I'm Googling this. Idaho first cousin marriage. Please. Okay, only if you're 65 years of age or older. Still, I think they do that because by that age, you can't make more people, but it's still gross. Right, regardless of how old you are. What is going on around here? What's happening, Peaches?
Oh, good morning.
Good morning to you as well. How are things going so far?
Oh, it's going pretty well.
All right.
We're just doing my thing over there in the Cannonball studio.
Very nice.
Nice little sauna. I was laughing at the Oscars picture because you know how they always tell us, like the famous celebrities will always send a message to the peasants like me and you, right?
Yeah.
And they'll always say like, be kind to people when really they're just like everyone else and they're kind of rude. They'll road rage every once in a while.
Everybody road rages every now and again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But there was this one time where it was like, hey, clean up after yourself at the theater, right?
Okay.
Tons of celebrities have said that over the years. Like, don't leave your theater looking like crap. Well, this is what happened after the Oscars.
Oh, yeah, I saw that picture. Is it legit?
Yeah, this is from Screen Geek, which has 3.3 million followers.
Oh, well, number of followers doesn't mean they're not sharing AI images.
No, but I've seen Screen Geek post like actual news.
Well, let's just double check. Oscars mess 2026. That should bring it up.
And that's not even for I think that's more so where the seat fillers sit.
Yeah, it looks like, it's all over the internet. So, yeah.
Come on.
Lots of garbage.
I wouldn't bring fake news on here.
Not intentionally, right?
Yeah.
No, I know you're pretty good about verifying things, Peaches.
I used to work for TMZ, okay?
That's true. Yeah, we should have you do a training video for people for how to, verify information or images or video that you see online to determine whether it's real or not. Like some of these, I've been seeing lately a lot of rock star posts where they're making some type of a political statement or something, for example. I saw one from Trent Reznor. I saw one from Rob Zombie.
Well, Trent Reznor at a recent show did just say, like, don't bring that crap in here that we see all the time outside or something like that.
That's because there were some people fighting in the crowd. So that was a legit video. But this quote, all it takes is 2 seconds to Google it and see if Trent said it. No. Same with the Rob Zombie thing. And I see, people of all different types sharing these things because they'll just see something that they like. Like, oh, I like that artist and I agree with them.
Right, absolutely.
And so they'll share it immediately and it's like, well, no, you're just sharing misinformation. You got to look these things up first, especially nowadays. Like I said, oh, is that AI? Because it's hard to tell anymore. You never know what's real and what isn't. It's going to get so bad. It's going to get so stupid, especially in the next few months, dude. Election year, it is going to be stupid.
That's why I'm posting and ghosting from here on out.
I've been doing a lot of that too, man.
Anytime there's some sort of like terrible event going on, like the World Cup of soccer, I stop paying attention to social media because I don't want my feed full of soccer crap.
See, I can't do anything to get my feed to change. I've tried, don't show me posts like this. I find this false and misleading, blah, 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 clicking. And it just keeps pummeling me with stuff that, garbage. Just garbage. So, it's made it nice because I don't enjoy scrolling Facebook as much as I used to. So I'm spending time being more productive, I guess. At least I'm not doing that, making myself dumber. Well,
that's until you go onto your fake Facebook account, right?
Oh, yeah, my fake Facebook account that I found out about yesterday. I don't know why. Every once in a while, I'll fire up that show just to see if the host is still angry and throwing tantrums. And yes, still angry.
It did make me
still
laugh.
Still throwing tantrums.
He was explicitly calling us out, and he called me Princess Peach. Like, that hasn't been, like, the meme for the longest time.
I don't. Well, they're very
magically
original.
The big dude. Let's call him a princess.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like calling me Vicky.
Yeah.
Like,
right.
Oh, never heard that one over the years.
Right.
Or any of the other insults Jade and Brad gave me for years and years and years.
Friends always insult you worse than what your enemies do.
Yeah. Well, that's what's funny is that person's very angry, but they're also afraid to say people's names. If you notice the part after that, about a 10-minute tantrum about a couple people in the community, afraid to say their names. If I have somebody to call out, I'll say their name. What are you afraid of? Did you see the video they put up where they blurred those guys out and were critiquing their content? It's pretty fun. Because it's like, if you're going to throw jabs, throw jabs.
I didn't even watch the video. I more so just went right to the transcript and just scrolled down to where I saw our station name, your name, and then my name.
Yeah. No, on their Facebook page, they had, if you scroll down maybe 10 posts or so, the video where they were, trashing on those other guys who I'm not going to say their names because, I ain't got no beef today. I ain't got no beef today. But to take all that time to take their video, blur their faces out, blur their logo out.
I can just imagine him like, he thinks he's doing such a funny thing at his computer, editing that whole thing.
Yeah.
Oh, a guy got him.
And then they responded in the comments, and then he threw this giant tantrum, wrote this essay.
Oh, you have to show me that.
Yeah, I'll show it to you.
Because I was just going to verbally
funny.
shut him down. I'm like, I don't want to give him the time of day.
No, not worth giving the time of day. It's just funny that, still mad. And all I asked was, hey, apologize for, something terrible you did to me back in the day.
Well, it's funny because he calls me Princess Peach. It's a lot of talk for coming from someone who stands at like 5'8". So it's just like, if you want to have any athletic competition at all, like, let's just go for it.
Old dude who wears a suit jacket on his YouTube videos.
We'll have the me versus him boxing match, and then I'll have the Lieutenant Crane basketball game right afterwards.
That's right.
Because it'll be done in 10 seconds. It'll be one hook and he's gone.
I do want to see you do some boxing, Peaches. Be pretty fun.
It looked like Butterbean, but
So last night, decided to throw on a film I hadn't watched in quite some time. And, it's amazing how old media can become, just relevant again and feel super fresh, even if it's 22 years old. Threw on the Trey Parker and Matt Stone classic movie, Team America World Police. I don't remember what streaming service it was on. Oh, let's see here. Was it Paramount Plus? Might have been. Anyhow, if you've never seen that movie, it feels pretty relevant right now. It was pretty fun to watch, and I forgot just how ridiculous that movie is. Becca hadn't seen it before, and she's like, what are you throwing on? These are puppets. These are puppets. Like, just come on. Let's roll. Let's watch it. And I had a good time. It was good for some good laughs before bed. So that is floating around out there. If you're looking for something fun to watch. I think, what's the other one that I recently watched that, Idiocracy. I don't know why that was so hard to think up. Probably because I'm dumb. But Idiocracy, another one that just feels so timely in our current day and age. So if you're looking to do some binge watching, kick back, relax, have some good entertainment for the evening, I'd go with Team America and Idiocracy, both of which are on streaming as far as I know. It was a little while back that I watched Idiocracy, but I think it's floating around out there somewhere. Anyhow, I'm going to get out of here, and I'm going to play another song that's about 22 years old. Again, it just feels timely. That would be A Perfect Circle and Pet. Have yourself a great rest of your morning. I'll be back at noon with Peaches, all right? See ya. Thank you again for tuning in to The Victor Welch Show. This program is a production of Riverbend Media Group. To contact the show or for more information, hit us up at riverbendmediagroup.com.